Hey everyone, welcome to Random Access, brought to you by Best Buy. I am Dank Gosta, he is Sasha Segan, and this is PC Mag's live daily show on Facebook.
Are you a Dank meme? Is that what you just said? You're a Dank meme now?
I mean, I could be a Dank Meme. I'm from the Dank Meme store. You have to buy me on Top Tech News of the Day. We're going to
talk Top Tech News of the Day. And okay, so I want to emphasize something because there is a bit of disagreement around this office. Okay, which is that I hold no truck with this whole April Fool's thing. Okay.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The fact that he is dank, dank is not something I currently support. So I'm going to make sure that the top tech news of the day that we discussed today is the actual top tech news and not fake, misleading, wrong tech news designed to confuse you like most of the internet out there today.
I'm actually Tim Torres. Are you okay with that? Do you support that?
That makes me feel much better.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So we are going to talk real, actual top tech news of the day. No April Fool's mumbo jumbo. It's just a regular Friday morning.
Yeah.
It's Friday. It's time to get down on Friday. And we're going to bring you a cool new thing in the labs. Well, actually, a cool, it's kind of an old thing.
It's so cool, though. It is so, like, this is a device that it blew my mind when I first heard about it.
And we're going to have Max Eddy, our analyst, here in the labs, rise from his coffin finally and show you the cool new thing.
See what happens when you go dank?
Well, we'll get to that dark web stuff. But first, the Tesla Model 3, a new car from Tesla company by CEO Elon Musk, came on stage and announced this new car, the Tesla Model 3, which is, of course, an electric car. That's what they do.
We're relatively sure it's not an April Fool's joke, although it was announced at 11:30 p.m. on March 31st, so you never really know, because what I find to be the amazing April Foolsy thing about this Tesla Model 3 is that, like, thousands of people put huge amounts of money down for a car they're not going to see for, what, 18 months or something?
For a while. It didn't even start production yet. It's going to in 2017, so it's quite a while. And yeah, about, last I read, 150,000 people. So over 100,000 people have already pre-ordered this car.
And now, do you know if, like, they actually had to put money down?
Yes, yeah. They had to put down deposits. They are refundable because, pre-orders, sometimes they don't work. But let's get to the specs. Let's talk about the car.
Okay.
The price, its base price is $35,000. Which is pretty good. So this is their push into the mass market.
Yeah, and the point is, like, it's pretty good for Tesla has this cachet right now, and like Teslas are a luxury device, luxury designed. They're supposed to make you feel and look like a Silicon Valley VC Sand Hill Road baller when you're driving around, and this will supposedly extend that to the masses.
Hopefully, and it will go from 0 to 60 in 6 seconds with an autopilot safety, and you could get up to 215 miles per charge.
And that's a lot, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds like that's like a trip to Boston.
Now, are there any other major competitors out there with electric at this price range?
There are a few. They are electric gasoline hybrids, including the Audi A4, BMW 3 Series, and the Chevrolet Bolt EV. I'm not sure as to the prices of those.
But they're hybrids. That's the thing. And the Tesla is all electric, and that is such a difference. Okay, so when are we? So we saw the first physical models of this last night.
Oh
right?
Yes, yeah. So it looks like a car. It's a 4-door car, but its main feature is that its roof is all glass. It's a panoramic pane of glass from front to back. It kind of looks like a beetle, like an actual beetle, like a bug. But it looks neat.
Okay. So obviously we'll have more coverage of the Tesla Model 3 as time goes on, especially if it turns out to be real and not a bizarre Elon Musk April Fool's prank where he's taking millions of dollars from people and singing it into building new SpaceX spaceships for his escape from our crumbling planet. It looks like we have a question from the crowd.
Should I buy an S6 or an iPhone SE?
Should you buy a Galaxy S6 or an iPhone SE? I mean, that comes down to an Android versus iOS thing, doesn't it? And it comes down to an Android versus iOS thing. Which operating system do you like more? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Hardware-wise, the two phones have a lot of similar capabilities. I could go into how the S6 has a bigger screen and it's higher resolution, and the SE has better battery life because the software isn't as much of a drain on it, but what it really comes down to is Android versus iOS.
Let's draw a line in the sand. What's your personal preference?
My personal preference, so I've been using this iPhone SE for a little while now. I really, really like it. But ultimately, I am an Android guy, and I am going to be switching over to the Galaxy S7 as my primary phone pretty soon, and I'll be talking about that more on our Galaxy-devoted show, Exploring the Galaxy, at 3 p.m. Eastern today. Don't miss it. What's our next news story?
Tor. Everyone knows Tor. Well, a few people know Tor, and fewer people understand it. Turns out Tor traffic is malicious. So Tor, what is it?
Okay. So Tor is a browser that lets you anonymize your web traffic.
Is it it's a modified version of Firefox?
Well, it's a system that includes a browser, but its major function, Tor itself, basically lets you anonymize your web traffic by making it appear as if your traffic is originating from a whole bunch of volunteer computers around the world.
Yeah, nodes, like...
Right, end nodes.
It's a series of tubes.
Yeah, and it's basically, it's a web anonymizer. And this company Cloudflare, which has its own agenda, is saying that a lot of Tor traffic is malicious. It looks like we have another question, though.
So I just wanted to know, what kind of configurations, just to circle back to the Tesla Model 3, what kind of configurations does that car have? Also, Editor-in-Chief Dan Costa wants to compliment Tim on his shirt. He's watching right now.
Oh, thank you.
I think Dan is on a plane right now, so the fact that Dan can actually watch this on the in-flight Wi-Fi, I want a story about that. I want some speedtest.net, okay, Dan?
As for Tesla Model 3 configurations, I don't know.
Okay.
we have to find out. I don't think that info is actually out there yet.
Okay. But so back to Tor.
Yes.
So Cloudflare, which is an anti-spam company, say that 94% of Tor traffic is malicious.
It's used to scam people, phish people out of their information, and just digitally screw up with people's lives. Tor
is saying that this is a deep misunderstanding of the way Tor works, because the way Cloudflare works is that they see spam or phishing coming from a particular IP address and then they blacklist it. But the way Tor endnodes work is that that particular IP address may be used as an endnode by tens or thousands of different people. So the fact that one spammer once used an endnode, from Cloudflare's perspective, turns that endnode into a spammer.
Right.
But there may be a lot of non-spammers also using that endnode. But what it really comes down to is, like, there was another survey out right now about, like, people don't understand the need for or desire for this kind of stuff, right?
The need for anonymous web usage. I mean, there's a lot of oppressive regimes out there where that would be useful. It's useful for journalists and whistleblowers. Edward Snowden types.
What's that other survey that came out?
The other survey is related to Tor because Tor is related to the dark web, because Tor can be an entranceway to that. The dark web is a place on the internet. It's like an underground marketplace where illicit materials such as drugs and other things
it's
can
also
be sold.
the dark web is basically any website which is not publicly visible.
Right, on search engines. So that it won't be on Google.
Right.
But the survey is that 7 out of people say that the dark web should be shut down, which that might not fix anything.
Yeah, I mean, if you can think of, if you in the comments can think of good uses that are not, criminal for dark web type technologies, and maybe we'll ask Max when he comes on later.
Right.
That's something that I feel like that's part of the conversation that isn't out there, because people think that, if you're hiding, then you must have something to hide. But hey, I'm Sasha Segan. I'm constantly warning you about the oncoming police state, so you know where my argument's going to go now. It looks like we have another question.
Just to change gears, someone wants to know if you can recommend a large screen phablet.
A large screen phablet. The Galaxy Note 5 is 5.7 inches. I was using that for quite a while. That is really nice. On a less expensive note, the Moto X Style has a really big screen. It's around $400. It's great because it has regular Google, like it has Google Nexus style software. The Nexus 6P is another good one there. Yeah, I would say Nexus 6P, Moto X style, but also the Galaxy Note 5.
Right. So the last thing about Tor, they are trying to fix this a little bit. They're trying to fix it so without hurting legitimate users. And one of the ways is by using .onion domains. Facebook has one, which are less subject to they won't get automated attacks as much. I'm going to have Max come on and talk about this more.
It looks like we have another question, though.
Even if you wanted to, could you shut down the dark web? Like, what would that actually involve?
That's the thing. How do you shut down the dark web?
Flip a switch.
Yeah, exactly. It's not, there is no simple answer to that. You basically have to set up, national level firewalls and web filtering systems like China has.
Yeah.
And you have to shut.
You guys are talking about security.
Okay.
Oh, hey!
Yeah.
But continue though. You're absolutely right.
Okay. Yeah. Max is confirming for me. The only way to shut down the dark web would be to set up a China-like system of a national level firewall with deep packet inspection to make sure that nothing other than whitelisted approved sites are getting through, right?
Right, that would be the best top-level way to do that. But of course, you can actually attack the Tor network itself. All the nodes are publicly listed, and it's been speculated that the NSA and the FBI have attempted in the past to poison Tor nodes. Tor is very, very clear about the limitations of what they can offer. A determined attacker will eventually find you, but it is hard to do. So if you wanted to take down the dark web, you would probably have to infect or just remove from the internet a number of Tor nodes.
Okay.
Once it drops below a certain number, it's actually useless. If you're only going through 1 or 2 hops, if there's only 2 nodes to be anonymized between, then there's not much anonymization actually happening there.
Gotcha. Okay, so moving on. So I said that I'm not too into this April Fool's stuff, but to help...
It's so old now. Come on.
To help inoculate you, I wanted to list some of the April Fool's pranks that are out there on the web right now, okay? And if you go around the web and you're amused by this stuff, here are some good ones to check out. Okay, so Google has a whole bunch of gags. Their biggest one backfired apparently last night, which was Google introduced an extra send button to Gmail called Mic Drop, which archives a conversation and puts a GIF of a minion in it. Apparently too many people were accidentally hitting that button in their late night drunken emails and got very angry. But here's some other ones. Intel's TrueKey security software will not let you log in via body odor, which is...
That's how I get in every day. It's the best biometric there is.
Oh, good to know. Netflix has a full site takeover from John Stamos.
Okay.
Pornhub has turned itself into Cornhub, and all of its front page videos are videos of corn.
That's great. That's actually
Like
great.
shucking corn, eating corn?
All of those things.
All
All of
right.
those things.
So
Popping corn.
No
Yeah.
difference from Pornhub on an average day.
Yeah. Zeus allows you to charge your Tesla car from your phone. Think about that for a moment. The size of the batteries. Lyft between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. today will allow you to somehow prank your friends by calling a car where a prank happens in the car.
Oh, no.
Razer, the gaming company, has a toaster, or doesn't. Samsung...
Or wearable.
Samsung has internet-connected pants, or doesn't. Tesla has a wristwatch, or doesn't.
Wait, did you say pants? Smart pants?
Exactly.
From a security
Which is a
perspective,
great idea, isn't it?
We've been saying for years that we need
best
to
idea.
defend the Internet of Things, and especially the Internet of Pants.
Yeah, the Internet of very personal things. Sony has a video about a Ghostbusters proton pack. ThinkGeek has their usual catalog of stuff with tiny Magic the Gathering cards and a Diet Coke and Mentos rocket. And as usual, ThinkGeek, I believe, is letting you vote on which of these things to make real. Because they always do that. That's how they got the. That's how we got the Tauntaun sleeping bag.
Remember that surprising thing just became a regular thing that we do now?
Yes, and then in the world of media, Apparently the sites Jezebel, which is devoted to feminism, and Deadspin, which is devoted to sports, have swapped staffs for the day.
That's great.
Oh, man.
So that should be fascinating to read.
Deadspin does
Man.
actually good reporting too, and so does Jezebel. What if there's no difference?
We will see what happens there. So that's some April Fools out there. So speaking of hot new products in the labs,
Since I've already blown my cover and come in, how about I show
Okay.
this off?
Yeah, but your coffin's all shattered back
I'm
there. You just
sorry.
blew straight out of
I
it.
did, but I have here in its place the Apple Newton Message Pad 2000, which earlier we had a power failure with it, so I'm going to hope that doesn't happen again. Oh, thank God, it worked. So this is from 1997. This is Apple's first PDA, and in some ways it was their only PDA. This is actually one of the later models. The earlier ones were much smaller, much clunkier.
some people say the phrase personal digital assistant was invented because of the Newton.
Doesn't that sound like typical Apple to you, though? Doesn't that just seem...
Yeah, we did. We did. We invented this phrase.
So,
There were previous devices, but like the phrase.
So it's actually pretty bulky, as you can see, but the whole point was to create something more akin to an actual computer replacement. It's got maps, it's got GPS, it has internet connectivity. You just plug your RJ11 right in there.
It's the iPad Pro with cellular of its day.
Exactly. It has PC card slots for expansions. You can just pop those in and out of there. We were looking through the specs a little bit earlier. It's surprisingly strong. It has a very early ARM processor, 162 megahertz, 8 megabytes of ROM, 1 megabyte of RAM, because that's all you needed, and 4 megabytes of flash memory. Has a great screen, as you can see. It has a grayscale 480 by 320 screen.
But what was most amazing about the Newton, at least from my perspective, was the operating system, which was unlike anything else at the time. The
Right.
way it was using relational information to cause things to happen between different applications. Talk a little about how you could write words on the screen and that would trigger actions to happen in different apps.
You probably have more experience with this than I do, because I bought this when I was drunk in college, and I did actually attempt to use it as a primary device for a while. But what I realized very, very quickly was that the way we interact with devices, because we have touchscreen devices that are pretty common right now.
Yeah.
It's a completely different sort of visual metaphor when using this. Your knowledge of how to use an Android tablet or an iPhone does not translate to this device. It's actually pretty difficult. But when you sort of get in the mindset of it, it comes forward pretty well. So come back in. We're going to show off the killer app of this device, which was handwriting recognition. And I'm going to open
And
up.
that is actually, that was literally the killer app in that it is the app that killed the device.
And we'll get to that. So I'm going to write something in here. I'm going to say,
Oh, can we point out your stylus? It's looks like a
oh, hi,
typical Sharpie.
Sasha. And let's see what it does. Floop. Oh, it did it. It got
Yeah.
it. Nailed it. First try.
Nice.
Well, and that's part of so the way the message pad's handwriting recognition works, it actually trains itself over a period of months. So one of the things that happened when the Newton was being sold is that the handwriting recognition is really, really crappy when you first take it out of the box. And people were taking it out of the box, the handwriting recognition was working really poorly, and they were mocking it or returning it. If you have your handwriting recognition for, if you have your Newton for 10 years,
Yeah.
the recognition's going to get pretty good.
Yeah, and it's actually much better in this later device. Now, you pointed out I'm not using an official Apple stylus. I'm using a Sharpie, and that's because I lost my stylus quite a long time ago. One of the other really amazing things about this device is it can run for 24 hours on a single charge from its rechargeable battery cart, or from, I think it's 2 to 4 AA's that you can insert into another battery cart in the bottom here. So every now and again, some smart-ass web company, and I am not sure I can say that on here, but I just did, so too late, we're already here. They'll say, well, we're going to compare some new device to the Newton, because the Newton is a joke, the Newton is a turkey. This is actually $100 million in 5 or 6 years of development here, and what will invariably happen is the people who are making this like fun joke review, they'll say, actually, this thing is pretty good, and in some ways it's superior to like some of the ultra-mobile PCs that were coming out in the early 2000s, and even today.
The Newton's issue is just that it was way before its time. And it's kind of a lesson in sometimes the product might be great, but it might not be the right time for the product yet. It looks like we have a question from the crowd.
What kind of waterproofing do we have on the Newton?
Let's find out. No. None. Absolutely none. But it is an interesting device. Again, it's very nice. And by the way, I should say, just because I'm here talking about the Newton, if you have any questions about the dark web or security, I would be happy to talk about it. The dark web and Tor is one of my favorite subjects. I just covered my mic, and I would be happy to take any questions about that, even vitriol. But yeah, so it is not.
It's kind of venomous.
Well, it's not waterproof at all, but it has a. You can feel that it's got like this weird sort of like rubberized texture to it. It's very 90s.
Man.
Yeah, and it has
Very 90s.
extremely 90s.
It's got screen
zipped
cover so you can
jeans and
drop it.
everything.
Flip over screen cover, and it's. I think it is the same screen ratio as the original iPhone, if I'm not entirely mistaken.
feels like it, feels
yeah,
like
and you know, if you put them next to each other, they actually look very close. And one thing I did want to show off, since you're in Cambot, is if you flyer up some of these applications, they're actually widgets that you can drag around the screen. So, you know, you look at where Apple is now, where they've said like, oh, this is not the kind of design metaphor that we want. It was very much a part of their operation. Also, this thing definitely thinks that it is July 1996.
So
It's a good year.
so
year.
if you go into the Google Books search engine, you will find that we have a review of the Newton online
I
from
dug
PC
it up.
Mag.
I dug it up. I could not find the exact review, but we did declare that the original one, which was sold for $900 in, I believe, 1993, it was pretty pricey. It's a hell of a lot more than an iPhone today. Yeah. We said that it won a design award. We said that it was a forward-looking device that was unlike anything that we'd ever seen.
Who knew we even had design awards? Looks like we've got one more question from the crowd.
What kind of gaming potential does the Newton have?
That's something I've been trying to sort out for quite a while. Now, there is actually...
Like 10 years.
Yeah,
Snake?
pretty much.
Tetris?
It doesn't ship with anything like that, but you can add software to it, and you can still add software to it because there is a shockingly robust Newton community who I'm sure the official Twitter account is watching me right now and losing their minds. But you could add additional software to it, much like a Palm or a traditional PDA from the period.
I bet there's a Z machine interpreter.
Oh my God, I hope so.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
It'd be too good. It'd be too good.
Z machines.
Okay. So unless we have any more questions, no, we're good. Great. Then.
All right. Then this has been Random Access, brought to you by Best Buy. I have been not Tank Costa. I'm Tim Torres, Sasha Segan, Max Setti, and the Apple Newton.
And we'll see you on Monday.